Now, as they say, no one can empower you but you. And once you've empowered yourself, no one can take that away. And this is so true. Once we know how to be self-empowered, how to stand up for ourselves, how to speak our truth, how to say no, all these things, nobody can take that away unless you choose to let them take it away. So some of you have already seen this, but some of you may not have, so I'm going to go through it. The 7 characteristics of an emotionally self-empowered person. Now, I'm not saying these are the only characteristics or traits or habits or behaviors, but they're certainly 7 key ones that I've noticed, with all the people that I've worked with and for myself, they apply to everybody, right? Everyone needs these traits and characteristics and behaviors in order to really become self-empowered at an emotional level. So the handout of this will be in the portal later. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to go through it step by step. Now we start at the bottom. This is the foundation. This is like the foundation when you build a house. Nice layer of solid concrete. And this solid layer is self-worth. A healthy and solid foundation of authentic self-worth, self-value, self-belief and self-esteem. Now what became very apparent to me as I was coaching people over the years was recurring themes. And mostly working with people with chronic health issues, chronic fatigue, chronic fibromyalgia, irritable bowel, it doesn't matter what the symptoms were, but chronic, ongoing, long-term symptoms, I started to notice 2 really recurring themes that were what I would call the root of the problem. And what I noticed was a lack of self-worth and self-belief and self-value and self-esteem, which I'm just bundling up and calling self-worth, and disempowerment, feeling disempowered at a deep level, which then leads to certain ways of thinking, certain ways of behaving in the world, certain ways of dealing with emotions or not. In other words, leading to how we are as a person. And then that leads to the results that we get in life, which is, the unhappy relationships, the difficulties in our job, lack of finances, unhappiness, illness. Sitting at the foundation of all of that is a self-worth issue. We'll be talking more about this as we go through the program. What we have to build and work on are several things. So first of all, self-awareness, which I've just been talking about. We have to develop an awareness of how we're feeling inside at any given time, what's going on inside our body. Are we feeling stressed? Are we feeling calm? What emotions are going on? Are they good feeling emotions? Are they not good feeling emotions? Because remember, they're all feedback. And we also have to become aware of whether we're meeting our own needs. So that means, are we looking after ourselves? Do we have healthy self-care? Are we being treated unfairly by other people? We have to grow our self-awareness. And we also have to grow our self-love. We have to be able to appreciate and value ourselves so that we can take care of our own needs. Because if we don't take care of ourselves and we don't show love to ourselves, which includes appreciation, recognition, respect, if we don't do that to ourselves, we're not going to get it from other people, because the external world is a reflection of what we're doing to ourselves. And what happens is, we'll be talking more about this next time, but what happens is when we grow up in an environment where we're not having our emotional needs met, and we talked about that in level 1 in the human emotional needs section, when our needs are not met and we're not respected as a child, we're not valued as a child, we're not recognized, heard, listened to, cherished, loved, etc. When we don't get an experience of that, a visceral experience, this is not an intellectual thing, when we don't get a visceral, emotional, energetic, tangible, touch, all the 5 senses experience of this, we automatically, unconsciously don't or are not able to give it to ourselves, but we don't even know we're not giving it to ourselves. We just think that it's normal to beat ourselves up, have high expectations, be perfectionist, be very hard on ourselves, expect others to treat us unfairly because that's what we're familiar with. That's what happens. We unconsciously get trained into self-hatred and self-rejection and self-disgust and all these things. So we have to become aware that this has happened, and that, that happens in stages. It happens gradually. And then we have to start increasing the self-love. And self-love shows itself in many ways. When we get to the section in this program on self-love, then I'll go into more detail about that. So these are the first two, behaviors, characteristics, traits, steps, whatever you want to call it, for growing true self-empowerment. Then we have to learn to become assertive. We have to learn how to stand up for ourselves and stop unfair or unacceptable treatment if that's going on. We have to stop others manipulating or taking advantage of us. And they can be, it can be happening on a minor level and a major level and anything between. It can be different with different people in our life. But basically, we have to learn how to stand our ground and be strong. And we have to develop healthy habits. We have to maintain healthy work-life balance in order to prevent stress and emotions turning into unhappiness or illness. And this ties in with the self-love and the self-care. We have to really focus on our self-care, which is being able to prioritize what we do on a daily basis. We have to look after our emotions, our mind, our physical body, our spiritual needs, without feeling guilty for putting ourselves first. We have to learn that being self-first is not selfish. It's not selfish to put ourselves first. And we have to learn how to express ourselves, how to communicate our needs and feelings clearly and easily without fear of what others will think or say or do. So these are the 6, well, plus 7 because the self-worth isn't on the page there, 7 characteristics of emotional empowerment. Now, there are other things as well, but, such as how we think and beliefs and all that, but I haven't put that in here. That's not what we're focusing on in this training. This is what we're focusing on in this training. It's emotional empowerment. It's not called mind empowerment. It's called emotional empowerment. Obviously, how we think and our beliefs are connected, and we will be talking about beliefs. But that will be a whole other training that I will develop in the future, is more about the mind, because it's a whole different sort of ball game by itself. So if we do all of this, then we can say that we are becoming self-empowered at an emotional level. And when we do that, we feel assured and empowered. We know who we are. Our actions and our behaviors are in alignment with our innermost beliefs. So that's the diagram for that, which will probably be amended. Things always evolve, but that will be in the portal.